What's up? Hey, hello, everyone. Wow. So today we are back going to be talking about Survivor Season 49, Episode 11, a hot mess episode where everyone seems to want to make moves, maybe not in their best interest. So my name is Rachel.
I'm Alyssa, and I feel like half this episode, I was just looking at my laptop screen being like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like you said, it seems like a lot of people are trying to play the game, but they're kind of trying to play the game badly. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, like theoretically, this should have been the episode where Savannah and Rizzo are in the hot seat. But no, everyone's got their own plans. And now Savannah and Rizzo weren't in the hot seat when this would have been maybe a prime opportunity, if not one of the only opportunities to try to take a shot.
Yeah, I feel like it was so weird because it wasn't even like Savannah and Rizzo had to shift the target off of themselves. It was just the target was never on them. And so I don't know if like people are just not thinking of them as potential threats or what's going on there because I felt like Savannah and Rizzo's names never really stayed on the chopping block.
Yeah, that's why it's interesting. It's like, okay, is this like a Joe and Eva situation where then the people on the island were like, okay, we're not really threatened by Eva's idol. We're not really threatened by the duo anymore. They started to lack agency. And then going into final tribal council, that's not so good. Or is this like, okay, like people are actually still scared of Savannah and Rizzo and think they are the front runners in this, but then people just like had changes of plans this time. So I think that'll be interesting to see next week. And then going into the finale, like, okay, do Savannah and Rizzo still have agency, or are people not afraid of them, similar to like Joe and Eva?
Yeah, and I feel like it might just be that people aren't realizing how big of a deal Savannah and Rizzo are, but I'm not quite sure.
So we start out this episode where Rizzo is saying that he wanted to play the fake idol last time. So, like, first, so that Christina would play hers second, but he was too slow to stand up. Christina beat him to the punch. And I was like, oh, this is like funny because last week and other people online, we were all giving Rizzo so much credit. Like, oh my gosh, he did what Rachel did with the shot in the dark, but this time with an idol in order to see Yellow Sophie's reaction. Like, this is big baller move. This is great. No, he did it for shiz and giggles and then wanted to showmanship for the jury. Simple as that.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, oh, why didn't you just save that fake idol for a later play? But I guess if you're going for the showmanship points, then it does make sense to just do it when the eyes are already on you. But
True. It's like, okay, he already had the idea to play the fake idol just because Christina got there first. He's like, I'm still going to do it. I had the idea, so I'm not going to wait on this. I'm going to do it.
balls to the walls, man.
So we also see Sage is really, really pissed off at Yellow Sophie. And I thought this was just like so funny throughout the entire episode because throughout, since the merge, we've seen Sage dislike Savannah, but now Sage really hates Yellow Sophie and wants to vote her out. After weeks and weeks of wanting to vote Savannah out, she's like, no, Sage has got to, or Sophie has got to go. All the S names.
There's too many S names, and I'm not here for it. But I've said in the past that one of the things I admire the most about Sage is her ability to be a hater. And again, she just like she gets so zeroed in on her haterism, and I feel like more people should be like that.
It was just so funny. Like the hate target switched so fast. Now, this entire episode, she needs to have revenge for Jawan and avenge him because Yellow Sophie voted him out. But it's also funny that she's like really only mad at Yellow Sophie when the three others in Rizzo, Savannah, and Blue Sophie also voted for Jawan. But maybe it's because Sage already dislikes Savannah that she's not as hurt of them voting Jawan out. It's just like she just really dislikes Yellow Sophie for making this move last week.
Yeah, really dislikes her. Really also seemed to kind of take it as a personal slight. And I was like, whoa, like it really was just a game move, but it seemed like she was really personally hurt by the choice.
Yeah, I sort of want to know why she wasn't as mad at the others for also voting Joanne out. And like maybe it is what we said. She already dislikes that group. So it's like, okay, I expected it from those people, but I didn't expect it from you. It just felt so wild that it's like, okay, the dislike target from Savannah to Sophie switched so quickly. And then it was like her mission this episode to get Yellow Sophie out.
Yeah. And it was a mission she was ultimately successful in. So, again, number one hater doing her best to get the people she hates out of the game.
True. And it's like every season there's people on the internet that is like, "Oh, I hate these like game bot strategy people." Like Sage, opposite. Emotional player, the like, quote correct move here would probably be trying to get Savannah out like she had originally wanted in the past few weeks. But it changed because of her dislike of Yellow Sophie.
Yeah. I guess you can only hate one person at a time. Maybe now that Yellow Sophie is out, her haterism for Savannah will return.
Probably, but maybe enemies to lovers arc. Maybe they can be like fake friends, enemies to fake friends now.
Enemies to fake friends to lovers.
True. It'd be like in Big Brother where people fake dislike each other. So then they have like beef with people and then you just like ride that out and then you don't get targeted. So maybe, but probably not. It seems genuine.
Yeah. I'm not sure anyone could fake disliking each other on Survivor as easily as on Big Brother.
Yeah, so maybe it was a bad move from Yellow Sophie last week flipping because like even in confessional she said I knew like Sage would be mad, but maybe she underestimated how much Sage would hate her for doing this move. And maybe underestimating how emotional of a player Sage is and like how like Sage's dislike will really dictate how she wants to vote.
Yeah, and I think those are the kinds of players that can be difficult to strategize with because if you do something even accidentally to piss them off, it could derail your whole game.
True. So, like Sage said, you don't want to get on her bad side.
No kidding.
So, a boat comes up, and one person has to go onto this boat journey. The little card said it's a strenuous boat journey. So that made a lot of people not want to go. I feel like this is probably bad for the Rizzo Savannah group not to try to step up and prevent Steven from going. It seems like you should try to block the person not in your alliance from going to one of these things, especially at Final 7. It just seems very dangerous to let Steven go.
Yeah, it seems kind of dangerous to let Steven go. I wonder if it's one of those things where everyone wanted someone else to block Steven, but no one wanted to be the one to block Steven. Because being the one to block Steven means that you have to do the strenuous thing and potentially lose your vote. But they all, after Steven were gone, were like, yeah, we wish Steven hadn't gone. And it's like, okay, you could have prevented this. So maybe it also was like a quicker scene than we were shown. Maybe it all happened really quickly. And so no one was able to be like, oh, shoot, we really shouldn't have let Steven gone. So
It sort of reminds me of when people complain, like, oh, this person found an idol, but they are not doing anything to prevent that person from finding an idol, like following that person around. Like, okay, you can't be mad that Stephen got an advantage when no one was even willing to like volunteer also to go on the strenuous journey. It did seem like everyone was turned off by the word strenuous, which it was very strenuous, but I feel like maybe for like Savannah and Yellow Sophie, it makes sense not to volunteer because you're trying to save yourself to win the immunity challenge and you have probably a good chance of winning the immunities. I feel like out of everyone, maybe Rizzo should have volunteered to protect the group here.
yeah, I think the other thing about the like you can't even be mad at Steven is like the journey was strenuous. Like it wasn't like he just like walked up and was handed an advantage. Like he had to do the work. And so I feel like again, the fact that he was willing to like, ball out and actually go running around this island. Someone apparently like looked at the Google map of the island and figured out what the length he had to run would have been, and it was about 4,000 meters, so basically 4 kilometers. And I gotta say, running a 5K is already like not an easy thing to do. And then running a 5K when you haven't been eating properly for 26 days, also really not an easy thing to do. He was running like he said, it was basically rock climbing. He had to remember those numbers. Like it wasn't easy for him to get his advantage.
No, literally. It honestly looked so dangerous. Some of those clips, like him wading through the water or him climbing up these huge rocks and he was like an ant on the rock, I was like, what the heck? Like, this actually looks like he could slip and fall and get really hurt. Like, it looks scary.
Yeah, like Matthew from whichever one of the 40s where he like fell and like almost broke his arm, that would have been bad.
Yeah. So it's like maybe the group let Steven go because they're hoping that maybe he would lose his vote and they're hoping maybe he can't do the strenuous journey part of it and he loses his vote. Because if he lost his vote, that's good for the Rizzo Savannah group. Then it's like, they have an extra number. But maybe they're also thinking, okay, if I went, then if I lost my vote, that's also bad because then we're down a number as well. But I feel like someone does have to take it for the team here.
Yeah, someone does have to take it for the team, but it's hard when the team is also very flexibly aligned. Like none of them are in a really strong alliance at this point, I would say.
Yeah, so the journey, super strenuous. I was like, who came up with this? Like, it looks actually very dangerous and very tiring.
I don't know, but I hope that next season they don't do the same one.
Yeah, like you mentioned, like the slippery rocks, running on sand, going through the water. It's very good for Steven for completing it when he's talking about like how proud he is. Like, okay, that's a good thing to be proud about. Like that scene looked so freaking difficult to do.
Yeah. So good for Steven.
Yeah, except good for him. Except if I did all that and I only got a block of vote, I would just quit right there. I'd be like, what the heck is this?
Yeah. Block a vote isn't that good.
No,
And I guess you could say the real reward is that he didn't lose his actual vote, but block a vote,
no, literally. I would just rage quit. I'd be like, what the heck? You made me run this 5K over the rocks in the sand. I almost died. And I only get a block of vote. Like I could have just looked on the island and maybe found an idol randomly at the home base camp. I had to run over all these rocks and climb the rocks just for a block of vote. That's crazy.
yeah. He deserved at least a knowledge is power.
Yeah, like something, I don't know, something better. If he read block of vote, I was like, wow, that sucks. Like you did all this only for that. Very funny.
I wonder if he also had the feeling of like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, they just edited it out because that makes the producers look bad. But genuinely, there's no way he's actually happy about a block of vote.
Again, maybe he's just happy it's not losing a vote.
True. So it was also very funny when Steven comes back and then Rizzo basically guesses what Steven's advantage is and then confronts him about it. I thought that was very good. I really like how direct Rizzo and Savannah are. Like they'll literally just straight up ask people what they're thinking about or what they want to know, which I think is very funny. Steven handled this a lot better though than Christina's confrontation last week. Like Steven played it off well that Rizzo actually thinks the block a vote is a steal a vote.
I gotta say, the fact that Rizzo was like, I think you have a steal a vote, rather than like asking what it was kind of funny to me because I was like, just wait for him to answer. Don't be like, I think you have a steal a vote. So,
That's true. I wonder if that would put the person more like under pressure on the spot if you're like, yo, Steven, what did you get? Then what does Steven say? Because does he try to downplay it or does he try to make it better? Or does he just like, sorry, bro, like I'm not going to share it with you kind of thing? Because I'm like, okay, if Steven's like, yeah, I got a steal a vote, then what does Rizzo say? Or if Steven says, yeah, I got an extra vote, then Rizzo says, no, I think you got to steal a vote and you're lying to me.
Yeah, I don't know, because I feel like if you are Steven, coming up with a lie and like being the one to suggest that you have a steal a vote, probably not smart. But if someone else assumes that you have a steal a vote, letting them labor under that false assumption is probably better than trying to correct their assumption. So I don't know whether you should upplay it or downplay it.
True. Maybe you would just say, like, sorry, I don't want to tell you. And then Rizzo would be like, I think it is XYZ. And then you let them think about it and then you don't confirm or deny. Then it depends, like, okay, did Steven actually tell Christina what the real thing is? And then maybe she would spill the beans. Lots of dangerousness.
Yeah, lots of murky waters to tread into.
So, but actually, a block a vote is less powerful than a steal a vote, I feel like. Like, a steal a vote would remove a number from Rizzo's side and then would actually give you an extra number because now you can vote twice. So Steven's side gets +2. A block a vote is only a -1 from the other side. So it's actually like not even as good as a steal a vote. Like, Steven, this is terrible.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see how they navigate around it. Or maybe the knowledge is power. Because if I'm not mistaken, with knowledge is power, you have to state what you're stealing. And so maybe Sophie tries to steal steal a vote, but actually it's a block a vote. And so she doesn't get anything out of it because it's not a steal a vote.
And also, Jeff said after this episode that Soph can't even steal Steven's block a vote because Steven plays the block a vote before they even go to tribal council. So next week, if Steven wanted to do the block a vote before tribal, Steven would play that, block whoever's vote. They'd go to tribal. If then Blue Sophie stands up and is like, Steven, I want to steal your thing, Steven wouldn't, like, there's nothing to steal because he's already played it.
Yeah, I totally forgot that you had to play it before you get to tribal.
Yeah. So I feel like maybe this is playing like edited to be that Blue Sophie is going to look like a fool next week because maybe she wants to steal Steven's advantage, but then she goes to steal it at tribal. But oh no, like you can't actually steal it anymore. And like next week is the last time Steven can even play the block of votes. So he probably would play the advantage. I think maybe Soph is going to look foolish at tribal.
Yeah, that is totally possible. But I feel like the next time on Survivor, definitely tease that something's going to be going down next week.
Although I feel like Blue Sophie really needs to steal Rizzo's idol, and then you vote Rizzo or Savannah out using Rizzo's idol. I think that would be a game-winning move.
True.
Yeah. Stealing Steven's block vote might be a game-losing move because not only then have you like wasted the knowledge is power, then you look sort of silly at tribal council trying to steal something that's been played already. That just looks very bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it would make her look boo-boo the fool.
Yeah, although I think like it will be interesting because if he does block a vote and like no one flips, it seems like it's going to be a 3-3 next week, so it'd be a 3-2 if Blue Sophie doesn't flip. So that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what happens next week as far as all of this like crisscrossing advantage stuff, because there's a lot of advantages left for not that many people, which I feel like ends up happening an awful lot.
True. And or like the Rizzo side will think that they can steal Steven's idol, so they're going to go into tribal happy, but then or advantage, but then they can't actually steal his advantage, and then they're gonna look like poo-poo at tribal.
Yeah. Which I think would be fun and also embarrassing.
So we get to the immunity challenge, walking in, they're recognizing what the challenge is. Blue Sophie is like, no, Jeff, I'm not gonna like pretend to be you. Steven takes him up on the offer and then sort of announces the challenge, but it is basically where you have to spell immunity on like with blocks on a rotating disc.
Yeah, it's a little bit different from the normal you have to spell
Mhm.
immunity thing, since on the normal have to spell immunity, it's on like a teeter totter, not a rotating disc.
I thought the change to this challenge with the rotating disc made it really boring. Like the rotating disc did not allow for anyone's blocks to drop besides one person. I feel like usually in this challenge, like it's more suspenseful, it's more fun to watch because the leader role is changing throughout the challenge because people's blocks are falling a lot more. And it's like, okay, someone in last place can end up winning the challenge because this is like a patience challenge and it takes a long time to do. I feel like with the rotating disc, they made it too easy and not wobbly enough that no leadership change happened here.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder why they made the change, other than maybe just like, oh, we don't want people practicing this. But the core mechanic is still the same. So I feel like anyone who practiced the teeter totter challenge would have done just as well on this one. Or maybe even better since this one was easier.
Yeah, like this was just like not that fun to watch because it's fun when the lead changes. Here it's like, okay, the only way to win this would be then to like go fast and steady throughout compared to like, okay, maybe I'll go slower and I never drop once, but everyone else drops 4 times because they're going too fast. It's like there's not even any strategy really to the challenge anymore.
Yeah.
So I feel like they need to fix this for next time, like make the rotating disc more wobbly. But Steven wins. So very good for him. This is really his episode.
I think it's also interesting that he won given he was so gassed out by the immunity, or not by the immunity, by the like journey that he went on. Like I again, maybe people should have been a little bit smarter about blocking him, but
That's true because if Steven weren't immune here, I feel like Yellow Sophie would not get voted out and Steven would just get voted out here. So extra good. He saved himself when he needed to win the challenge, similar to Savannah saving herself when she needed to win the challenge. I feel like they need to bring back more of these rewards where you have to pick people to go on and then people might get butthurt by not getting picked to go eat the food. So Steven picked Christina first, which makes sense. Okay. She just played an idol on you last week. Like, if you didn't pick her, maybe that would be a little bit bad. So this is a good thank you for playing the idol on me. I thought Steven would maybe pick Sage second, and I thought that would be a bad move for everyone, for him, leaving everyone else back at camp. But Steven picks Rizzo second, and I thought that was a better move.
I thought that was a better move too. Though I do wonder again if you're worried about Sage being a hater.
Maybe she'd be so butthurt. Maybe that's what we need. We need more of these rewards.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, picking Rizzo makes sense because we've heard multiple times like he hasn't really eaten that much. We see Rizzo crying when he got picked. I thought this was a good move for his social game. And then you also leave the women, the 4 women back at camp who like don't really like each other that much. So it probably stunts the like communications back at camp because those people don't really like each other that much compared to if you brought Sage on the reward with you and left Rizzo and the 2 Sophies and Savannah back at camp. You know it's a 4-3 vote against one of you on the reward challenge.
Yeah, you want to make sure that they don't have time to plot.
Yeah, so I thought picking Rizzo was smart.
Yeah, I thought picking Rizzo was smart too. And I also think no one can really fault Steven for his choices.
True, and maybe even better because on the spaghetti reward, Rizzo pitches to Steven and Christina that they need to find a common enemy, and he puts out Yellow Sophie's name as someone that they need to vote out. I feel like we've seen Rizzo is very good at this, where he's able, like, they've been in the minority since the merge with 3 people, but they somehow keep on making it past each vote because he's able to, like, get people to sort of want to vote and see why this like random person in the middle is like really bad for their game. It's like, okay, Alex is flip-flopping. Let's vote him out. Juwan is also doing the same thing. Let's vote him out. He's always putting someone in like that middle group before his side, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. I'm interested to see if that strategy continues to work.
Yeah, and it's like here Steven also wanted to vote Sophie too, so then he could keep his block of vote to the final 6. So I think that would be interesting because if like right now on paper it looks like it's 3-3, but if it's really not a 3-3 and it's a 4-2, then having a block of vote and you're in the 2 with him and Christina, a block of vote doesn't even do anything.
No, it does not. At best, a block of vote can take you from being not tied to tied, it seems.
Yeah. So it's like this thing is very not that powerful.
No, it's not.
So I think it's just wild watching this. It's like, oh, dang, everyone wanted to vote Rizzo and Savannah out for weeks now, and then they're just not going to. I feel like because Sage wasn't on board, Christina and Steven, they don't have the numbers because Sage isn't with them. It's like, okay, they can't really do the Savannah vote either now. I feel like Savannah and Rizzo are just so lucky that they've got all these emotional and less logical people here.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you can argue that the more emotional, less logical people make for better games sometimes, but oof, oof.
So I thought it was interesting also. It seemed like Rizzo and Savannah maybe prepared their yellow Sophie talking points to like pitch to people because both of them were pretty much saying the same thing while back at camp and on the spaghetti reward.
Yeah, it sounds like that is the case. Like they had a unified front there.
Yeah, which is pretty smart. Yeah, you just, keep on telling people the same thing in like different fonts. And then they're like, oh, actually, yeah, Yellow Sophie's been on the right side of the vote every time. She's so good at these challenges. We need to vote her out.
I do think it's interesting that they pitched Yellow Sophie as like such a strong winner threat when I feel like we as viewers, I don't think that I would have put her in like the top slot to win at any point during this season.
It's like the same thing Yellow Sophie said about needing to vote Juwan out. She's like, Juwan is going to win this game.
Yeah, which again, we didn't see.
So I do think it's interesting that it seems like the people on the island think Savannah is more dangerous than Rizzo. I would wonder if that could come up in a final tribal council. They're only really afraid of Rizzo because he has the idol, but it seems like people are like afraid that he's going to play the idol on Savannah. Whenever people are targeting the two of them, they're like, let's vote Savannah out. Like, we don't like her personality and we don't like want her around. She's going to win $1 million. But they don't really say that about Rizzo, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting because I never really got the vibes that Rizzo would use his idol on Savannah. So the idea of like, oh, let's vote Savannah out in case Rizzo uses his idol, like, he's not going to use it on her. And if he's not a threat, then doesn't
And he
matter.
even said this episode he wasn't going to play it on someone else, too.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. And we also hear Sage this episode say like twice, you just gave Savannah $1 million. And she said, I don't want to give Savannah $1 million. So it's like, okay, last week we heard Yellow Sophie talk about the $1 million twice. This week people are saying, everyone, you're letting Savannah win the game.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting because if Savannah does win the game, this will be like, big foreshadowing. I've been poking around the Edgic subreddit to see what people have to say about this. But if she doesn't win the game, then it's kind of like, why are you gassing Savannah up so bad?
True. And especially like if people think she's such a big threat and you don't vote her out, it's like, okay, that person would be deserving to win the game.
Yeah. It's kind of like when like Parvati and Sandra got to the end of Heroes versus Villains, it was more of a big deal because they were both winners who everyone was gunning for.
Exactly. So, this episode, we also see Blue Sophie saying she would be willing to flip and vote Savannah or Rizzo out of the game. I thought this was interesting because we know now that Blue Sophie realizes, like, okay, I would get third out of this trio. I probably wouldn't win sitting next to these two, so I need to make a move. I think that's good that we hear that from her. So, at least she realizes it. We have to see if she will make a move.
Yeah, that is going to be the big thing because I feel like every time we see someone be like, oh, I'm on the bottom, I need to do something big, it's like a 50-50 shot on if they will.
True. They see it, but then maybe there's not enough time or they're too afraid to do something. Here we also see Blue Sophie talking with like Sage and Yellow Sophie about wanting to vote Savannah and Rizzo out. I thought this was maybe a little bit dangerous, especially with like Sophie and Sage. It's like, okay, we know that like if you do something bad to Sage, maybe she would spill this secret and spill the beans. And then if Savannah and Rizzo are mad at you, like that's just not good.
Yeah. I mean, in general, someone being mad at you is not good.
Yeah. We also see Sophie said she wants to sit next to Sage in the final three. So I also thought that was interesting.
I think it makes sense though, because I feel like Sage is not someone who has a lot of respect from other players.
Yeah, I think like it's smart from Sophie to realize like, okay, I probably need to take out Savannah and or Rizzo. I need something on my resume. You'd want to probably bring Sage and Christina. I feel like everyone probably wants to bring Christina to the end. So if you want to take that spot, technically you should probably want to vote Christina out.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you could also vote Sage out because I feel like if you are sitting with anyone and Christina, there's like a, depending on who that other person is, you might have a chance of beating them, if that makes sense. I feel like, I guess I should say, Christina is more of a goat than Sage is at this point in the game.
Yeah. So people probably want to keep Christina around, but like if you want that third seat, I'd be like, we need to vote Christina out. She's taking up that spot here. Although, yeah, I don't know. I could see Christina making it, or if Christina isn't there, maybe Sage is that spot. But I would think they probably try to vote out Steven first.
Yeah. But maybe Steven continues on his immunity run. I did think it was interesting that the immunity wins have been split between 3 people, with 3 people each winning 2.
Yeah, now one of them's gone. So whoever
Their
wins next
chances just
one,
went up
yeah.
by 33%.
Yeah, so then maybe someone will get their third next time or a first time winner.
Yeah.
So we get to tribal council. Christina and Savannah have this like chat where Christina's like, I don't really like Savannah. But apparently, this entire conversation was like fake. Probably maybe coming from a real place from Christina's point of view, but them like bringing it up at tribal council was fake.
Yeah. My favorite line from that exchange was Christina goes, hate. And Savannah goes, not hate. And Christina goes, strong dislike. And I just found that very funny because I feel like you said, like maybe they weren't telling the truth in that moment, but it definitely was believable that they would dislike each other. Otherwise, warning bells would have been going off for Yellow Sophie.
True. So maybe they are doing the Big Brother strategy. Now they're like sort of fake dislike, but also maybe some genuine dislike, at least from Christina's point of view. I thought this was also interesting though, because like maybe it makes Savannah look a little bit bad. Maybe people want to go to the end with Savannah because it seems like people don't really like her. Maybe they think she has a less good social game because it's like, okay, if Christina's on the jury, Sage is on the jury, these people that have said they don't really like her and don't vibe with her personality, are they really voting for her for $1 million at the end? Like, could they separate personal dislike versus like gameplay moves? Maybe you want to sit with Savannah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been talking about whether or not this will be a bitter jury because I feel like that could really change the outcome.
Yeah. So I thought it was also funny. Yellow Sophie's last words was saying there can only be one hot 31-year-old challenge beast on the island. And I was like, technically, that's true. It's just not you, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, not you.
So Sophie gets voted out. Jawan, he got so much screen time on the jury. He was so happy.
I feel like he got more screen time on the jury than he did in some of the episodes where he was present.
Yeah, I thought it was cute to see like the Jawan and Sage relationship. And then you're like, okay, maybe it makes more sense why Sage was so gung ho about wanting this revenge. And then Jawan was like so happy that Yellow Sophie gets voted out here.
Yeah, I thought that was funny that Joanne was so happy.
So I thought a unanimous vote though at final seven, a little bit wild. Maybe not in the
Yeah.
best interest for people because unanimous at 7, eek.
Sophie did say she was taking it as a compliment, so I guess we should all take it as a compliment too.
That's true because it's like, okay, unanimous at 7. Does that really, though, mean like 2 to 3 people voted incorrectly this time? I guess that is to be seen next week. It does seem like it is semi sort of fluid, although there is like a 3 versus 3. So maybe it would have been good to try to dismantle the solid threesome in Savannah, Rizzo, and Blue Sophie, just because like those 3 seem very dangerous together.
Yeah, I think it would have been better to break up one of the more solid alliances, but it's already done, I guess, and we'll have to see if 2 to 3 people did vote incorrectly as we're going forward. Because I feel like, depending on who ends up in the final 3, I feel like this could just be like another mistake in a long line of mistakes that let those people get to the final 3. Because I guess specifically, if Savannah and Rizzo end up at the final 3, it's like this is like the 3rd time that people were stupid and should have voted Savannah and Rizzo. But say la vie.
That's true because people are saying, yeah, if Savannah and Rizzo make it to the end, voting out Nate was the mistake. So it's already downhill.
Yeah.
Maybe it seems like there's no more hidden immunity idol because like a rehidden one after Christina played hers, we didn't see anyone look for it this week and or find one this week. So it seems like maybe there's not another one, especially because Steven did go on a journey and get an advantage. To me, hopefully there's not another one because like 2 idols, advantage, and a knowledge is power, that seems like too many.
If there's another idol, I will riot.
Yeah, so it seems like hopefully not, but they might try to mess it up. Then we'll have an advantage get in.
Please, God, no more advantage get ins.
So going into next week, though, low key, I feel like Blue Sophie could be under trouble next time because if Steven does block a vote, he's probably blocking like Savannah or Rizzo's. So it's probably a 3 versus 2. Savannah could easily win immunity. Rizzo maybe plays the idol on himself, and then only like you can only vote for Blue Sophie. Or she has to flip because I think being connected to those 2, especially when one of them has a very good chance of winning immunity, is not good. And especially because it seems like Savannah and Rizzo just have plot armor that people don't like voting for them.
Yeah. I really want to hear people's justifications for not voting for Savannah and Rizzo, and maybe we'll get something like later in the season, but also later in the season is like 2 more episodes, right? There's only 2 more? 3 more?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, so there's not that much more time for people to explain what the heck they're doing.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, like Savannah and Rizzo are scary, so let's vote someone in the middle out. There's not that many more people left in the middle unless you're going to vote Sage or Blue Sophie out. So something's got to happen.
Yeah.
But I think next week will be interesting. Very spicy. Maybe Savannah and Rizzo's luck will run out and they will get some votes. But maybe not because they've got like really good luck on their sides.
Yeah, they've got really good luck. I also feel like maybe just other people not wanting to make moves. So we'll have to see about that one.
So I'm excited. Lots of fun things could happen next week. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this episode. Did you think the immunity challenge was sort of bad because there was no wobbling of people's blocks? What did you think of the journey Steven had to go on? Was it too easy? Should have made it harder? Or was it hard enough that he had to run around the island and climb over rocks to get only a block of vote? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you all next week.